Welcome to the Primitive Lifeways channel. You know, one of my favorite trees to use out in the field for practical applications is pine. And in today's video, I want to cover the many uses. So stick around, I'll be right back with you. So folks, I want to welcome you back. Now I want to cover every single property of the pine because pine has a ton of value. It has tool value, it has medicinal properties as well as nutritional value, and we're going to cover every single one step by step in this video. And I want to first of all start off by covering the pine needles. So I like to make a tea out of these pine needles. These pine needles are packed in vitamin C. So for a common head cold, or if someone needs just an immune system support, making a tea out of this is very, very beneficial. I like the taste. Some folks don't really care for it, but I kind of like that pine earthy taste. So I'll chop the needles up real fine. I'll steep them in a hot water, and then I will strain the water and consume the liquid. And that'll clear up some of my head cold symptoms and boost my immunity. And then I like to make baskets from the pine needles. So this is pinyon pine. These needles are very, very short, but some of the larger needles, Jeffrey's pine, ponderosa pine, Georgia pine, they work great. I've made many, many baskets out of them, and they work quite well in the field. Moving over to the nutritional value. So in some pines, folks will harvest the cambium layer and consume it. It's quite sweet and it is high in starch, but what I like to do is I like to harvest the pinyon nuts during certain seasons of the year. I'll harvest a whole bunch of them and I'll add them to soups or even salads. It's very, very high in protein, and when you're craving protein in the field, pinyon nuts taste absolutely delicious. Moving over to pine saplings. So of course I wouldn't want to harvest anything that's live right now because I want to help promote this growth cycle on this tree. There's plenty of dead and down materials that you can find in the forest. But pine is a nice soft wood. So as long as it's not too far gone or too far seasoned, you can harvest it and use it for a bow drill kit in creating primitive fire. Pine sap is highly medicinal, but we can also utilize it as a natural tool resource. In this freezer bag, you see I have big globs of pine sap or pine pitch from this local area. We also know when a tree is injured, it'll slowly start to ooze pine sap, and that's its natural way of healing itself. So as far as tool uses go, pine sap is highly flammable. So using it in primitive fire or making a torch, it burns hot and it burns bright. I also make a glue out of it. This is a natural glue stick. I'll use this for mounting arrowheads or repairing pottery, even sealing baskets. It works excellent, it dries hard, and it's damn durable. As far as medicinal use goes, pine sap is antibacterial and it's also antifungal. So for minor cuts, scrapes, burns, blistering, insect bites, and infections, we can use this. And I'll tell you folks, I've been using it on a daily basis. This is my second batch. This is a natural pinyon cream. It comes from a Navajo woman up in Utah. Its ingredients read pine sap, coconut oil, and vitamin E. It's all natural and it works excellent. You can still see on the bottom here, there's chunks of sap just sitting there. I like to use a cream or a liquid. I don't like to use a real solid salve because when I have a wound, it becomes an irritant when I apply a hard base salve onto that wound. I have to really rub it in and impregnate it into my skin. Whereas when I use this, it practically melts on my skin. It feels really good when you apply it to a wound. Finally, I want to discuss fatwood. Fatwood can help us out tremendously with fire. This is a flame extender. It burns hot and it burns for quite a while. So what happens with a pine tree is when it dies, the sap will fall to the trunk of the tree and it'll get trapped in between the joints and the limbs of the tree. We can harvest that and we can utilize it. So I just have a big chunk of fatwood that I've been scraping here, and on this fatwood you can see there's resin all throughout the structure of this wood. And all I do is I scrape this with the spine of my knife, and I get these nice feather curls. And again, this stuff is highly, highly flammable. So in the desert, you do have to be careful, and you have to really pay attention to your fire. You don't want to burn the whole forest down. So now I'll take my metal match and I'll strike this. And you can see how that burns. Nice and hot. And it works as a flame extender. We can add that to a tinder bundle or just strike it as is and slowly add materials on top of it.